All right, so my son's doing these problems for us, so as soon as he starts, I'll explain what he's doing. All right.
I can't remember how to. I just know how to solve it. Like with multiplication.
Then what do you do?
Plus
Stop.
exponents.
Yes. So do it. All right. You're not. All right. I need you to show work. I need you to do the problem. All right, I think he's writing 3 plus 2 because we're adding the exponents, so you get a 5. So I believe that says 2m to the 5th. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So the answer is D. All right, let's do the next one. So when they have numbers out in front, we have to multiply them. So that's why he's multiplying the 2 times 3 to get 6. And then I'm not really sure what that says. I think he's adding the exponents because they're both a's to the first power. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So you would have a 6a squared as your final answer. So he's going to do the same thing here. He's going to multiply the coefficients together. So 3 times 3. And then we're going to see how many x's we have. So we have 1x and then 2 x's. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So you'd have an x cubed. And then we only have y to the third on the 1, so we'd keep y to the third. And then our z's, we got z to the third and z squared. So he adds them up to get z to the 5th. So the correct answer would be A. All right, keep going. So how do we get rid of those? So with division, we subtract the exponents.
Yeah, so
the same base. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So that means what? No, you had it right.
Oh.
1 minus 1 is 0. So that means the ends are gone, right? So our answer is just 1/2.
They cancel each other out.
Exactly right. They reduce to 1. They don't cancel each other out.
Yeah.
That's
I
math
can't
teacher.
say it.
So now with a division here, we need to reduce our fraction. So he's going to draw a big fraction bar. Now 2 over 3, does that reduce?
No.
No, so 2 over 3n. So now let's look at the x's. So if we have x cubed and on top and x cubed on bottom, what's 3 minus 3?
It'll be 0.
So x's are gone. So now we have y to the first on top, y squared on bottom. What is that going to give us if we subtract it? What is 1 minus 2?
Be a negative 1.
So what does that tell you about the y? Where does it go? Since it's y to the negative 1.
Here.
Goes into the denominator. Very good. So where's y? You don't need to put the first power there. But
Okay.
So now z's. So we got z squared over z squared. What's
Making
2?
it 0.
Again, so our answer is just 2 over 3y, right?
Correct.
All right, do number 6. What do you have to do?
You don't you time, like you add the, this is the one I
We need to distribute it. The square needs to go to everything, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have what? A to the second, B to the second. So now with this one, we have more than just to the first power on that x. So what we have to do is we have to multiply. So we have 2 powers in a row, we multiply. So we'd have y to the third and x to the 12th. We multiply. All right, simplify 8. So I would start off by adding them. So we got a negative 2 out in front, right?
Yeah.
So put a negative 2. So now we got m's. I don't know.
Oh wait, ain't that negative 2m?
But it's just negative 2. It's the coefficient.
Okay.
So now we got to add m to the first power and negative 2. What's 1 plus negative 2?
It'd be negative 1.
What doesn't that mean, though? Instead of writing that answer out, doesn't that mean we have an m that needs to go on the bottom?
Yes.
So let's draw a fraction bar. The fraction bar should be underneath the negative 2. So put the negative 2 back up on top, please. All right. And now we have what? Ends. Negative 3 plus 2 is what?
would be -1
-1. So that means our n goes where?
down here.
Very good. So it'd be -2 over m times n. So C. All right. Figure this one out. What do we got to do? Fraction bar. So x is be first. 1 minus 1 is 0, so the x's are gone. How do we get rid of a negative exponent, Gage?
Put on the bottom.
What if it's already on the bottom? What do you do with it?
You put on the top.
So put your y cubed up on the top. The answer is
2y with the to the y cubed over 3.
all right. So what do you think? I'll give you a hint. I'll do the first step. The -1 power. The easiest thing to do with that would just be to go ahead, instead of distributing it through a negative exponent, means you have to flip it. So now I think you can simplify it. So the v on the bottom we can't do anything with. What can we do with that u to the -2 power?
Turn to a positive and put on the top.
There you go. So we'd have u squared on top. Well, then you need to cross out that one in the bottom. So you have u squared over -3v. So negative u squared over 3v. All right. Can you do those?
Yeah. I don't like them though.
No, I'll get you started. That is a perfect square. So what's square root of 256?
Was that 15?
One more.
16.
16. So you know you got a 16 because that's a perfect square.
And
We'll go ahead and write 16. So what is the square root of m to the 4th?
m to the 4th would be, wouldn't it be m to the 2nd power?
Exactly right. Good. You're cutting it in half. You need 2 to get 1 out. So n cubed. How many n squareds are n cubed?
1.
Right? So I'm going to write that out. So that's like n squared and n, right?
Yeah.
So what's square root of n squared?
N.
So put an n. And then you have that radical n left over. So put your square root of n. You still have the square root of n left over. So you need to put that right here. Can't get rid of it. There you go. All right, so 128 is not a perfect square, I'll tell you that. So were you taught to do a factor tree?
Yeah.
So 128 is 2 times what? 64.
Yeah.
You're too slow.
Exactly.
64 is 2 times what?
8. It would do 8 times 8 though.
Ooh, so all right, we can stop there then because you see a perfect square, right?
Yes.
Good.
So 2 would be in the square root, while 8 would go down to 8. So wouldn't it be 8 times the square root of 2 as that part?
Yeah, so we have 8 radical 2. Exactly right. So x cubed, that would be what? An x squared and an x?
It would be...
So we can get 1x out because...
Yes. So it would be x was an x cubed. So you put the second x next to 2.
Can we do anything with the y? No.
No.
So which one's our answer? D.
Yeah.
All right. So a 7th grader just did your assignment, guys.